I said he needed to start his court and have his court convene at the same exact time that their court was in session. I said that way. I said they did the same thing with Bali. I said because when it was said and done, the Crown prosecutor said, this has never happened like in the history of England. How did the Crown lose in Crown Court? I said, because you didn't see that little claim I put in there, the suit that I put in at 9 o'clock this morning. You didn't take a look at it. You got the notice from a month ago. You got the suit this morning, and you didn't realize that I flipped the court and I put Crown Court and I converted it into Queen's Bench. I turned it into common law. He says, but this was a Crown Court. I said, was a Crown Court until 9:01, until you failed to object. I said, how you could have beat me? I said to him, I said, I'll tell you how you could have beat me. I said, you could have just said you weren't properly served, that you got at least 21 days before you have to answer to this claim, to this suit. But you didn't because you're so freaking arrogant that those 8 words to you meant nothing. You didn't have no clue what those 8 words meant. You think they're so freaking cute. You don't really understand the impact that those 8 words have, do you? And he just looked at me. He says, but I lost. I said, look, I'm sure your mama still loves you. You know, you'll get over it. I said, someday I'll lose a case, and I might be upset. I said, but you know what, buddy? You put on a hell of a show, and I really appreciate, the passion that you put into this. Oh man, he was shaking the bar. He was flipping his wig. He was spitting. I mean, the guy was incredible. What a performer! He wanted a conviction like you have no idea. And he got it. They were all found guilty. But the only problem was when the judge said, now for the common law side of this trial, all these matters are discharged. That's right, because they're not legal persons. Are they guilty as legal persons? Yes. The only problem is the legal person known as Balraj Man doesn't exist. Sorry, you had the wrong person. You had a Punjabi person. You didn't have a legal person. I said, yeah, is all these charges against the legal person true? Absolutely. I'm sure they are. This prosecutor's I'm sure he's a hell of a prosecutor. I'm sure he wouldn't be wasting court resources and valuable time of public servants if his case wasn't, worthy of merit, wasn't absolutely, what he believes to be the truth. Absolutely. The only problem is they don't have a legal person in this building. You have no legal defendants. There is no person known as Balraj Man defendant here. There's a man known as Balraj Man, but he's from the Punjabi society, not a legal society. You don't have a legal person here. Sorry. So we're not going to stand here and argue that the legal person shouldn't be found guilty. You can do whatever the hell you want to the legal person. Kick the legal person across the room. I don't give a shit what you did. There is no legal person here. So you're just going to hold your little court, just like I said earlier. They're still going to hold. If the legal person isn't there, they're going to find that legal person guilty in absentia because he's not there. So what? But you better have your own damn court going on. You better have your own damn case before the court at the same time. But they're going to hold you in custody for that legal person till that legal person shows up. They're going to hold you, your body. They're going to hold you liable for the acts of the legal person. You better have something in writing to explain that you are not the surety for the legal person. You better have it, you better have it in writing. You better not think you're just going to open your mouth and say, I am not the surety for the legal person, known as Karl Lentz. They don't want to hear that shit because now you're talking into their court and now you appear. That's why I had to slap Bali in the middle of court and I had to throw his brother down. Because Bali almost made a sound while the legal persons were talking. Man doesn't talk while legal persons talk. Man doesn't talk back to legal persons. That's ridiculous. That's like man talking back to a pine cone or a tree or a porcupine. Man doesn't talk to legal persons. Just like, we're working on a different dimension here. I'm not going to talk to a piece of paper. It's ridiculous. It's going to look ridiculous me sitting there talking to a piece of paper called prosecutor, a piece of paper called judge. I'm not going to talk to a piece of paper. That's the most ridiculous thing. You want to talk to me man to man? Let's do it. It's the same thing with Dean Clifford. I mean, is that guy still in jail? Did he violate his
No, somebody mentioned that he went back to jail, but I don't know. I guess he got out. I don't know. I haven't kept up on it. I haven't.
No, they said that. I believe they said that he violated his terms of his release, and then no, he's still there. And I even told him on your show. I said, look, it was funny. He was saying, oh, the head judge came down and talked to me man to man, and he let me go, and he didn't make me sign any paper, and he didn't make me put up any bail. I said, finish the rest of the story, Dean. He's like, what? I said, I guarantee that man asked you to give to him your word that you will be back in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. He says, well, yeah. He said they wanted me to come back. I said, Dean, he didn't ask you to sign nothing. He didn't ask you to give him any currency. He asked you for the most valuable possession that any man has on planet Earth, is his word. He asked you for your word. He said, will you be back 30 days from now? And you said yes. That is the most valuable thing that you possess, is your word. Not how much coin you got in your pocket, not your signature, your word. Now, you have to live up to that word. And I said, I don't care. If you got to be back there in 30 days, you better be crawling on your bloody knees and stumps. You better be crawling back to that courtroom. You better live up to what you said you would do. Because if you don't live up to your word and you talk man to man, they're going to bury you. They're never going to give you the opportunity to talk to man ever again. See, he played the legal game, and you ain't going to win the legal game. Now you're playing the man-to-man game. You want to play man-to-man game? Okay. The only problem is the same thing with like the legal society, the Boy Scout society, or the man-to-man society. If you break your word man-to-man, you break a Boy Scout to Boy Scout or legal, they are going to turn your back on you. They're going to turn their backs on you. And now you could scream as loud as you want, take my word from it, I'm a man. They're not going to take your word anymore. They're going to turn their back on you. You only got one shot at this when you play a man-to-man game, and you better live up to your word because you don't have a second shot at it. They are never going to look at you again as another man, because another man would have called up and said, look, I'm going to have to leave the province. I'm going to have to leave the territory. I'm going to have to leave this area. I'm going to have to go see my mom. I got to go travel for work. I'm going to have to drive my own truck again. I can't find a ride. I'm going to have to break the terms and conditions of a lease. This is the reasons why I have to do it. If you have a problem with that, can you please, tell me that I cannot do it? But I guarantee he was so prideful. Well, I'm not saying him in particular, but most people are so prideful they don't want to be considered like a child. It's like, look, who could tell me when I could drink a beer? Who could tell me how many hours? Because you gave the man your word that you would live up to a certain standard, and you would be obligated to abide by a certain conduct and a certain set of rules, and you will do a certain thing, and we'll release you from prison. And I'm sure he's like, fine, just get me the hell out of here. But then you have to actually live up to it. But if you don't want to live up to those terms and conditions, you could write a letter back to the man and say, look, Bob, you're a great judge, and thank you for coming down and talking to me the other day, man to man. But maybe I acted a little in haste to get out of the prison. Honestly, I can't live up to those terms and conditions that I agreed that I would abide by. So, again, I'm talking to you as my fellow man. If I do this is going to cause me harm. I'm going to lose income. I'm going to lose time for my family. So, and I know you don't want to hurt your fellow man, Bob. So can you please see to it that you're not going to hold it against me if I must travel, or if I must drive my own truck, or if I'm going to go out of the province to see my family. Please communicate with me as soon as possible, Bob. And I'm sure Bob would have wrote back, the judge would have wrote back immediately and said, okay, I could see your dilemma, I could see where you're going to. But I'm going to hold you up to your terms and conditions. I'm going to hold you to your word. And then Dean has to sacrifice and say, you know what, I gave him my word. I will live up to my word. Or he's going to say, or that Bob will say, fine, but don't let it happen again. I was like, okay, fine. So like I said, I'm sure you just, if that's what happened, if he didn't live up to his terms and conditions of his bail or parole or release, I wouldn't doubt it. Because this being a man is a lifestyle. It's not I just had to say whatever I had to say to get out of jail that day. I just agreed and did whatever they told me to do. And now I'm going to do what I want. Now I'm going to be a little brat again. I'm going to do what I want because I'm so cute and I'm so precious and I'm precocious and nobody is going to spank me.